To start working with the watercolor and salt, we need to make sure that we have everything that we're going to need for the process. So we have right here the primary colors watercolor set, cup of water, cup of salt, large Sharpie marker, pencil, piece of illustration board, and of course your watercolor brush. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm going to move some of these things out of the way so I can work. And what I want to start with is my piece of illustration board right here. What I want to do is I want to draw a fairly simple organic shape that is within about ½ inch of my left border and ½ inch of my right border. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that like this, and I don't want it to be straight, but I want it to be fairly simple with some curving lines like this. Just some type of organic shape that is not too complicated. Alright, once I have that drawn in pencil, I'm going to take this larger Sharpie marker and I'm going to carefully trace over my pencil lines. So what I want to do is I'm going to turn it like this and carefully and as smoothly as I can, I'm going to trace over that pencil line that I drew, like that. I like to do half of it at a time, then I'm going to rotate it like this, and I'm going to repeat that process, tracing over the line very carefully and as smoothly as I can. And then here I'll work on the ends of it, and I'll just kind of connect that like this. There we go. And I'll do that over here also. Okay, so we have, as you can see, this nice organic shape. I'm going to go ahead right now, so I don't forget later. I'm going to put my name on it, and I'll just use this pen. And I'll put my name right here in the lower right-hand corner. Okay. Then I'll take this piece of board and my pen, I'll set those aside, and I'll move to my next step. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to mix up some color, and I want to mix up enough of it so I don't run out. So feel free to choose to use either red or blue, and today I'm going to go ahead and use some red. So I'm going to get some water, and I want to mix it up down here in this larger palette area. So I want to put down some water first of all, which I'm doing right here. And one thing I want to remember is that I don't want to run out of my color, so I want to have plenty. So I've got some water down there. Okay, now I'm going to get some red, put this down here like this. I don't want to mix up, some type of medium value, I suppose, something like this here. There we go. And once again, what you want to make sure is you want to make sure you have enough color. It's always better when you're working with this watercolor and salt to mix up more than what you need. So I think that looks about right. Got that in my nice palette area, looks like plenty. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take my watercolor set, I'm going to set that aside. Okay, now most students assume that what they should do is start painting next. That's not true. But what we want to do is we want to take our board and we want to use the pre-wetting technique, which means I want to paint this entire area with clear water. So I'm going to do that right now, and I want to paint this as carefully as I can, staying inside the lines. Notice how that line that we drew is nice and thick, so hopefully it's thick enough to stay inside of it. So what I'm doing is I'm wetting down this entire area. And I'm trying to be fairly generous with the amount of water that I'm using. Okay, so as you can see, what I've done is I've kind of painted this top edge, and I'm simply going to rotate it like this, and I'll work over here. Once again, just trying to wet down the entire area with clear water. Now, as I work on this, I'll kind of review the steps. Okay, step number 1, you need to mix up plenty of your color. Okay, and I've already done that, as you saw. Okay, step number 2 is to pre-wet the area, trying to be fairly generous with the amount of water that you're using. Okay, so now I've wet down this entire area, and I've made sure that my brush kind of touched the black line, like that. Okay, so I'm going to rotate this here. Now, immediately, without wasting any time, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint this area. So I'm going to get my brush, I'm dipping into the paint that I've already mixed up, and I'm going to go ahead and paint this area. As I do this, you'll notice that the paint flows out to all the areas that I have pre-wet with clear water, which is what I want to have happen here. Now, the pre-wetting technique is great to make something smooth, but I don't necessarily want a smooth effect with my salt experiment that I'm doing here. So if I have some areas that are a little bit uneven or a little bit blotchy, that's not going to bother me at all. Okay, and I'm just brushing out this color. Notice how the color flows into all the areas that have been previously wet down with clear water. And I want to work with some type of medium value. I don't want to be too light. Okay, so as you can see, I've got this entire area painted this nice red color. As I mentioned, I'm not too concerned about smoothing it out. I just want to make sure that it's all painted. Okay, now you can't wait around for your next step. You have to do the next thing immediately. So what I want to do now is I want to get my cup of salt, which I have right here. And what I want to do is I just want to pinch some salt between my thumb and forefinger. I'm just going to pick it up. And then I'm just going to drop it and sprinkle it onto this area that I painted. I want to be fairly generous with how much salt I'm dropping. So I want the salt to kind of hit all the areas that I've painted. If we're doing this correctly, your salt is going to stick to the area that you painted. If it's kind of bouncing off, if it's not sticking, then that means you maybe didn't use quite enough water to paint your area. Okay, so there I have it, and I've sprinkled salt, just dropping it once again right on top of my area, as you can see. Now, when you look at that, you can already see that there's some type of, random effect occurring. Now, I'm not a scientist, so I can't tell you why this effect is occurring, but I can tell you that it looks really cool. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is I need to wait. So I need to take my board right here, and I just need to set it aside 20 minutes, half an hour, however long it takes for this to dry. So I'm going to go ahead and set that aside. Now, while I've got that set aside, I'm going to go ahead and show you a finished version that I have right here. Now, this one that I'm showing to you right now, I've already painted it, I've let it dry, and then I've scraped off the salt. And what we want to do is we want to take a look, if we can, And notice the effects that's created with the salt and the watercolor. So what I want to do is enlarge this just a little bit so you can kind of see those interesting effects. Kind of random crackle type effects that are really fun, as you can see. Okay, so that is the watercolor and salt. Once again, to review the steps, you mix up your color first, pre-wet the area with clear water, paint it immediately with your color, drop the salt on it, let it dry. Once it's dried, scrape off the salt, and as you do that, there should be revealed a very interesting, random, and unpredictable effect.